I'm Jared Haynes, and this is Rogue Outdoors. Today I'm here at Toelke Archery with Jared and Dan, and they're going to show us exactly how the bows get from point A to point B and then to you.
All right, I'm Jared Toelke. I'll walk you through the shop here. This is just packing and shipping and parts and pieces room. It is always a mess. It is hard to keep clean with the volume we go through. When you come in the shop here, you got quite a few standard tools, and then we got some custom tools. Of course, bandsaw and stuff like this. This is a pneumatic sander, and by pneumatic we mean that the drums themselves are air-filled. That lets us adjust the pressure and do a lot of limb work and riser work both on those. This is a vertical belt, allows us to put radiuses on the bow just simply by adjusting the pressure we push into it.
A vertical belt, and all this is radius and dressed on the vertical belt. Dress your riser to your limbs.
This is the real workhorse. This machine we do everything from 36 to 80 grit stuff on. It's got a lip on the bottom so that we can make riser jigs that ride on the lip. That way we can clamp a riser block in here, run it along that lip, and get an exact copy of our riser. So it's going to fit our press perfectly every time, as well as doing the limb profiling on that and a small amount of shaping. That this machine sees a lot of work.
This here we pulled out and I've templated it for the Chinook limb. And at that point, I'll actually take it and freehand it on a grinder. And I'm going to grind exactly to that line, but not through it with the grinder. And we grind all our billets out instead of using a bandsaw on them. It's just a lot safer, a lot less chances to have something pick up and have a wreck there. You get a real nice smooth cut on the grinder.
Another custom machine is a 4-inch low speed. A lot of the shape 3-inch low speed. A lot of the shaping is done on that.
Larger radiuses I'm coming in on this 4. Working the grip here. Contouring, you know, so you don't have any per se flat side and everything's got a nice melded radius to it.
And of course the throat of the grip, this one's real low speed. The initial throat cut is done on 36 grit, and then this is a 60 grit, 80 grit to do the final pass on.
You know, when we're cutting the throat of the grip, I'm coming in on this 1.25 inches, working the grip here.
Air system runs to every machine. That keeps our dust real low. Keep it somewhat clean in here. Oscillating belt sander, nice long one so that we can get the whole bow limb on there. Drum sander, we do all of our veneers in-house, including processing our own bamboo from raw slats into veneers. That's all done on there, all of our limb veneers and cores. Taper everything on there. That machine sees a lot of use as well. Back here is our spray booth. This is just the hanging room. Hooks to hang the bows. We can hang 20 pieces in here, so 10 takedowns or 21 pieces. Spray out through that door where we've got a vacuum system to pull everything out. Wood storage. Lots and lots of good wood back there. Gotta have that. And then over here, of course, there are presses that everybody's seen. These are pneumatic, internally heated presses, forming off of the fire hose for the actual forming of the bow, wood blocks in the steel presses. We have 7 models of bows that we do in these 4 presses, so 3 of them we interchange blocks out to do the different models. We got the pica, we got a Chinook actually in this press right now, whip blocks in there, and we've got a Whistler we just put in here with Jared here. So this press is internally heated with heat strips, and the heat's already been on for a little bit, so it's up to temperature. Gluing the bow up takes about 15 minutes, so this glue's only been mixed for 15-18 minutes. Nice and fresh. Got to make sure everything is centered here, left to right. Get it right in the middle. The pressing itself is done by the fire hose that's in here. And that's hooked up to an air pressure controller we use to control that. I've got to get that hose exactly centered so everything stays in place. Get the bow centered. Check, and then check it one more time. Go ahead down a little bit more. And with 8 veneers and glue squeezing, good. I like having 2 of us to make sure everything stays in. We use jacks to keep the bed in place while the air pressure is coming up. While Dad's running the air controller, I'm going to keep a really good eye on each of these veneers. The tips are held in place already, but we keep an eye on the center ourselves. Here comes the pressure. Watch that top metal.
That's a half pound.
Yeah, that's less than a pound will lift that 200-pound bed against the pressure of the lift there. Everything stayed nice in place. We'll have everything on this bow is an inch and a half wide, so we have a good bit of extra, but you can't let it slip very much. But you can see everything, all the veneers there stayed in place pretty well there, within a few thousandths left to right.
Pressure's up.
Pressure's on. Start a timer, and we'll just have to turn that one off in a little bit. Hand sanding's done here. I was just telling Jared that we've got 10 bows sitting over there that need to be brought from the rough state to being ready to go in the spray booth. And that'll require about 20 to 25 hours of actual hand sanding under natural light, which I have unplugged, under natural light to make sure that we don't leave any scratches in the bow. Tips and overlays are glued on and with C-clamps. Of course, we've got a few C-clamps around here. This is glue up area. We got to make sure that we keep this real clean. Always use paper on that, make sure everything's clean, and then cleanup is easy. We're gluing up a Whistler to put in the press. This one's got canary veneers on it. Takedown riser in there. The bolt's already in the bow bolt's already in the riser. When I lay on my glue, this paddle I'm using forces the glue into the pores so that you've got glue permeates into the pores, gets the air out, and then this bead down the middle is going to fire all of our air out when we press it. Make sure that there's no air left in the limb when we press it. The Whistler's got 8 veneers if you include the glass plus the riser in it. All 4 of the cores are tapered. Doing everything in-house that allows us to alter the tapers and get everything just how we want it. The way we hit poundage is we measure the stack of lambs before this point. When I ground all the veneers, we measure everything, and we've got a set spec to hit the draw weight we want. And essentially what that does is when Dad first shapes the bow and puts the string on it for the first time, it's going to be about 10% overweight. So a 50 pounder is going to be around 55 when we start, and that'll give us the extra to work to shape the limb and come in on poundage. Here's the next batch waiting to be finished. Like I said, we can do about 10 at a time there. These are mostly 2-piece bows, and a little bit of everything. We tend to have a little bit of every kind of model in the work. We got whips, pike as whistlers, a 10X, 64 SSLR, a Chinook here. Got a little bit of everything. Super D in the rack for the next batch up there, and then these are shaped billets waiting for overlays. This is after they've come out of the press. This one was put in about 3 hours ago, so the heat's been off for over an hour now. It's cold, so I can go ahead and let the pressure out of this fire hose. Just like that, the pressure's off. Lift that bed up a tiny bit. These straps hold my metal and hose and heat strip, so I don't have anything falling on the floor. You don't want to be damaging your metal or your heat strip. Make sure they stay where they're supposed to be. Trying to remember what the veneers are in this one. Oh, this is some myrtle with kind of swirly curl to it. And then we don't like cleaning up messes, so rather than make a big mess of the glass, we keep the faces of the glass real clean so we don't have to tape them off, and that way when you pop the bow out, it's all clean and ready to go to work. That's a 1-piece whip. Myrtle veneers, my Carter riser. Off to Dad. You turn it into a bow. And we've got the initial limb shape done. That's covered in dust. And then this has been roughed for our overlays to go on. Tips have been roughed. Tip overlays. That one is bird's eye maple on that, and that's also a 64 SSLR recurve. We just fit the plates exactly to our riser there. The bolt was installed in the riser before we even pressed the billet. We got the overlays on it now, so it's just next step for this bow is going to be shaping the grip. So we're just going to go ahead and put this together. I've got release agent on the plates. There shouldn't be any glue in there anyway, but just in case, got a little release agent in there. Turn that bow together, and that fits tight. And then just to ensure that those plates are held center, I've got little shims that come down to an ultra fine point. And if I can get them in there, then I will, just to ensure that those are held tight. That one is snug. I can barely get those little needle points even in there. just like that. Tomorrow it'll be ready to shape, put a grip in it.
I've said this in my previous videos, but Dan and Jared make some of the most beautiful bows that you can imagine. Between myself and people that I shoot with and other hunting partners, we own over 9 of his bows, and they are each an individual work of art. Jared and Dan do amazing work. They put a lot of time and effort into these bows to make sure that they're going to last you a lifetime, and it's going to be something that you can pass on to later generations. When you buy a Toelke traditional bow, you're not only buying something that you can shoot with, but you're also buying something that's a conversation starter, something that when you go to shoots, people admire the beauty, the craftsmanship, the fit, the feel, and the lack of noise when they're shooting that you'll hear coming from your bow. Now I'm going to end this video with you hearing Dan himself describe what I consider a bow that he had in his house, and I consider it to be one of the most beautiful bows I've ever seen. I hope you liked the video. This is a look inside of his shop, how the bows are made, and just to get a little feel of how much care and love they put into each bow. So please like and subscribe to the channel, and here's Dan himself.
Black beaver tail, linen micarta, black riser, dark mango, and East Indian rosewood overlays.